Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. US Ambassador to the United Nations Mike Waltz told the UN Security Council the US stands by the brave people of Iran, and President Donald Trump has made it clear all options are on the table to stop the slaughter. Trump has repeatedly threatened to intervene in support of protesters in Iran, where thousands of people have been reported dead in a crackdown on the protests against clerical rule. Earlier, Trump said he had been told that the killings were easing and they believed there was no current plan for large-scale executions. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged maximum restraints at this sensitive moment. A senior UN official has warned that threats of military action against Iran, like those made by US President Donald Trump, increased volatility in the protest-torn country. US-based rights group says death toll from the violent crackdown on protesters has surpassed 2,600. Washington's envoy to the UN renewed the threats on Thursday, saying all options were still on the table. Iran's representative at the meeting accused Washington of exploitation of peaceful protests for geopolitical purposes. The nationwide shutdown of the internet by authorities in Iran has now lasted a full week. US President Donald Trump hailed opposition Venezuelan leader Maria Corina Machado for her gesture in presenting him with her Nobel Peace Prize medal. The move comes as Venezuela faces a turbulent political transition following the capture of leader Nicolas Maduro on the January 3rd. Machado, who is fighting for her political future after meeting Trump, said her gesture to President Trump with the Nobel medal was intended as recognition of his commitment to the freedom of the Venezuelan people. Machado received the Nobel Peace Prize last December in Oslo after arriving in the country following a daring escape from Venezuela by boat. US forces in the Caribbean have seized another sanctioned oil tanker, which the Trump administration says is linked to Venezuela. The US military said the vessel, Veronica, was boarded in a pre-dawn operation without incident as it was defying President Donald Trump's quarantine of sanctioned vessels. Since the US military strikes on Venezuela and seizure of its president Nicolas Maduro this month, Trump has said he plans to tap into the country's huge oil reserves. According to monitoring service Veronica, a crude oil tanker sailing under the Guyanese flag, departed empty from Venezuelan waters in early January. US President Donald Trump continues to press his claim to Greenland, with his aims to wrest control of the mineral-rich Arctic island growing stronger by the day. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the talks between US officials and representatives from Denmark and Greenland were largely productive. However, she added that European military deployments to the semi-autonomous Danish territory would not deter Trump from pursuing its control. However, Denmark has ruled out any US acquisition of Greenland. The US Army unveiled the prototype of the next generation of armored war tanks at the Detroit Auto Show. The M1E3 Abrams contains new high-tech components, counter-drone protection, and sharper off-road handling to better adapt to changing military demands. The current version on the Abrams tank was designed in the 1970s and needed upgrades to keep pace with today's military needs. The M1E3 is equipped with a hybrid electric engine and AI-assisted capabilities to help identify battlefield threats. Testimony said training time on the prototype would decrease because the controls are similar to current gaming platforms. The US Army's Chief Technology Officer reportedly said the high-tech robotic and drone components of the M1E3 will be the first line of defense and be safer for military personnel. President Donald Trump has announced the formation of the Board of Peace for Gaza, describing it as a key component of Phase 2 of a US-backed plan to end the war in the Palestinian territory. The announcement comes as the US-backed Gaza ceasefire framework moves into its second phase, despite unresolved disputes between Israel and Hamas. Israel continues to insist on Hamas's full disarmament, a demand the group has refused to accept. Israel is yet to clearly commit to a complete military withdrawal from Gaza. The Palestinian Technocratic Committee, unveiled this week, is expected to oversee day-to-day governance in post-war Gaza. The Israeli military carried out airstrikes against Hezbollah targets shortly after issuing evacuation orders for the village of Somor in southern Lebanon. The latest barrage of airstrikes comes against the backdrop of the Israeli government's push for the disarmament of the Hezbollah group. The Israeli military, in a statement, confirmed that it carried out airstrikes on Hezbollah terror targets in several areas in Lebanon. The military said the airstrikes were in response to Hezbollah's repeated violations of the ceasefire understanding. The orders come a week after the Lebanese military said it had completed disarming Hezbollah south of the Litani River as part of the first phase of a nationwide plan. Russia has criticized the UK's plan to supply advanced missiles to Ukraine, warning that the move would escalate the conflict rather than advance peace efforts. The statement comes following the announcement by the UK that it has launched a project named Nightfall to rapidly develop ground-launched ballistic missiles capable of carrying a 200 kg warhead over a range of more than 500 kilometers to support Ukraine. Moscow has responded that such military support undermines the prospects for a negotiated settlement as the fighting continues. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that his country isn't a stumbling block to peace. Former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol is set to receive a court ruling today over allegations that he obstructed investigators' attempts to detain him last year. This marks the first verdict in a series of cases stemming from his 2024 declaration of martial law. Special counsel Cho Yoon-suk's team has sought a 10-year prison sentence, accusing Yoon of obstruction of justice and related offenses. Prosecutors argue that the former president committed a grave crime by abusing state institutions to conceal and justify unlawful actions. Yoon is accused of ordering the Presidential Security Service to block investigators from executing a detention warrant in January last year. He is also charged with violating the rights of 9 cabinet members by excluding them from deliberations on the martial law plan. Nearly 300 South Korean firefighters were deployed to fight a major fire in a deprived area of the upmarket Gangnam district of southern Seoul. An official at the Seoul Metropolitan Fire and Disaster Headquarters said no casualties had been reported so far, but 47 residents were evacuated. Huge fire and smoke was seen from the area known as Guryong Village, a pocket in Gangnam, one of Seoul's wealthiest districts. It is due to be redeveloped into high-rise residential buildings. A total of 85 fire trucks was sent to the scene, but officials could not send a helicopter due to haze and fine dust shrouding the city. Authorities raised the alert on the fire to the second level, with firefighters concerned about it spreading to a nearby mountain. 7 months after India hit terror targets deep inside Pakistan, a top terror commander has openly admitted that India's strikes caused damage to terror hideout in Muridke. In an on-camera admission, Lashkar-e-Toiba commander Abdul Rauf has confessed that the mosque and training facility were destroyed and collapsed during the Indian attacks of 6th and 7th May. After the Pahalgam terror attack in April 2025, India launched Operation Sindoor. The targets were carefully chosen: terror hideouts and training facilities inside Pakistan. Counting of the votes for the BMC polls will begin at 10 a.m. IST across 23 designated counting centers in Mumbai. The elections were held along with 28 local bodies of Maharashtra on 15th January. The Bharatiya Janata Party-led Mahayuti is locked in a key battle with the united Thackeray cousins Raj and Uddhav for control of the cash-rich BMC, which has an annual budget of more than 74,000 crore rupees. The two factions of the NCP, Congress, Samajwadi Party, among others, are also in the fray. The counting process will be conducted in strict compliance with the guidelines of the Election Commission of India and the Model Code of Conduct, with elaborate arrangement in place to ensure security, traffic management, and maintenance of law and order. Social media companies have collectively deactivated nearly 5 million accounts belonging to Australian teenagers just a month after a world first ban on under-16s took effect. The country's internet regulator said this is a sign the measure has had a swift and sweeping impact. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said platforms had so far removed about 4.7 million accounts held by under-16s to comply with the law that went live on December 10th. The implementation of the ban is being closely watched by regulators worldwide. France, Malaysia, and Indonesia have all said they will introduce similar laws, while some European nations and US states are also discussing following Australia. The figures represent the first government data on compliance and suggest platforms are taking significant steps to adhere to a law that could see them fined up to $33 million for non-compliance, but does not hold children or their parents liable. The Indian Met Department says India is set to witness a mix of rainfall, snowfall, dense fog, and gradually easing cold wave conditions as a fresh western disturbance approaches northwest India. The IMD, in its weather bulletin, said cold wave conditions are likely to continue for the next 2 days over Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, West Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and Odisha, before weakening thereafter. Cold day conditions are also expected in some pockets of Punjab, Haryana, and Chandigarh during this period. Dense to very dense fog is forecast to remain a major concern across northwest India and Bihar. As per the IMD, isolated pockets of dense fog expected to continue up to January 22nd in certain areas. Earthquakes have been identified as the main cause for at least 80% of the known tsunamis. An international team of researchers led by the British Antarctic Survey, UK's National Polar Research Institute, has embarked on a study to investigate how collapsing Antarctic glaciers can trigger powerful underwater tsunamis and impact climate. The agency's previous research ship observed this pattern by chance while collecting ocean data during an expedition to Antarctica. Essentially, these tsunami waves are created when icebergs collapse from the front of glaciers. They may go unnoticed as they travel several meters. South African authorities closed Kruger National Park to day visitors after several river burst their banks following days of heavy rainfall. Tourists already staying at lodges inside the park were allowed to remain. Vast areas of the park were seen submerged under fast-flowing water, with only treetops visible above the floods and hippos swimming between them. Flooding in southeastern Africa has become more frequent and severe as climate change fuels more powerful storms. Asian shares pushed higher on Friday, hovering near record levels as optimism around artificial intelligence returned to markets. MSCI's broad Asia-Pacific index outside Japan rose about 0.5%, supported by strong earnings from chip giant TSMC, which helped revive confidence in the AI trade. Tech-led gains on Wall Street carried into Asia, with Nasdaq and S&P 500 futures modestly higher. The US dollar stayed near a 6-week high after solid US data prompted investors to scale back expectations for Federal Reserve rate cuts. Japan's Nikkei slipped, pressured by a rebound in the yen. Meanwhile, European stock futures edged lower after record highs in the previous session. Oil prices fell about 4%, snapping a 5-day rally as comments from US President Donald Trump eased fears of a supply shock from Iran. Brent crude settled near $64 a barrel. Trump said the crackdown on protesters in Iran appeared to be easing, lowering expectations of imminent US military action and reducing the risk premium that had pushed prices to multi-month highs earlier in the week. Additional pressure came from rising US crude and gasoline inventories, signs of higher supply from Venezuela, and expectations of more oil reaching global markets. While OPEC sees steady demand growth ahead, traders focused on near-term supply relief, keeping prices under pressure. Gold prices eased as a stronger US dollar and softer geopolitical concerns reduced demand for safe haven assets. Spot gold slipped slightly after hitting a record high a day earlier, while US futures also closed lower. The dollar climbed to a multi-week high after US jobless claims unexpectedly fell, reinforcing expectations the Federal Reserve will keep rates steady in the near term. A firmer dollar made gold more expensive for overseas buyers, adding pressure. President Donald Trump struck a more cautious tone on Iran, easing fears of escalation. Analysts say the pullback appears corrective, with underlying demand still strong. Other precious metals also dipped, though silver remained near record levels. The US and Taiwan have reached a major trade deal focused on semiconductors, cutting tariffs on many Taiwanese exports and driving large new investments into US technology manufacturing. Under the agreement, Taiwanese chipmakers expanding production in the US, including TSMC, will benefit from lower or zero tariffs, while broader tariffs on Taiwanese goods fall to 15%. In return, Taiwanese companies are set to invest up to $250 billion in US semiconductors, energy, and artificial intelligence, with additional credit support pledged by Taipei. Washington says the deal strengthens supply chain security and aims to shift up to 40% of Taiwan's chip production to the US. India has issued a final warning to Apple in its App Store antitrust case, saying it will proceed unilaterally if the company fails to respond. The confidential order from the Competition Commission of India shows Apple has delayed replies to investigators for more than a year, despite repeated extensions. The CCI warned it will move ahead if Apple does not submit its objections and financial details by next week. Apple could face a fine of up to $38 billion after investigators found it abused its dominant position in the App Store market. According to Reuters, Canada's privacy watchdog has expanded an existing investigation into social media platform X after reports that its Grok AI chatbot was generating non-consensual, sexually explicit deepfake images. Privacy Commissioner Philippe Dufresne announced that the probe will now also include a separate investigation into XAI, the artificial intelligence company behind Grok, to determine if the platform and its AI violated Canada's federal privacy laws in collecting, using, or disclosing personal data without valid consent. According to Reuters, a Chinese-linked cyber espionage group known as Mustang Panda has been found targeting US government and policy-related officials using Venezuela-themed phishing emails. The report said that this campaign appeared just days after the US operation to topple Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, with hackers exploiting the geopolitical situation to lure victims. Investigators uncovered a malicious zip file titled US Now Deciding What's Next for Venezuela that contained malware linked to Mustang Panda's past cyber espionage activity. It's not yet clear whether any targets were successfully hacked, but the malware could steal data and allow persistent access if installed. Indian cricketer Hardeep Deol led UP Warriors to their first victory of the 2026 Women's Premier League. The Warriors defeated holders Mumbai Indians by 7 wickets. After being put to bat first, Mumbai posted a total of 161 for 5. Nat Skyver Brunt top scored for the defending champions with 65 of 43 balls. Harleen, who was retired out on Wednesday despite batting well against Delhi, anchored UP's chase. Her unbeaten 64 helped Meg Lanning side win the match with 11 balls to spare. The countdown for the Australian Open has begun, and Roger Federer said he hopes Carlos Alcaraz can win the first Grand Slam of the season and become the youngest man to complete the career Grand Slam. 22-year-old Carlos Alcaraz will bid to add the Melbourne title to his 2 Wimbledons, 2 French Opens and 2 US Open crowns. The 20-time Grand Slam champion Federer is back at Melbourne Park 6 years after his last Australian Open appearance for an exhibition match. Bangladesh's cricketers continue to insist they will end their playing boycott if Najmul Islam makes a public apology over his comments. The Bangladesh Cricket Board on Thursday removed Islam from his position as chair of its financial committee after he suggested players should shoulder the financial burden if Bangladesh were to withdraw from the T20 World Cup in India. Both of Thursday's matches in the Bangladesh Premier League were called off because of the boycott. The iconic golden and silver bear trophies have officially emerged from their molds at the Hermann Noack Sculpture Foundry. This signals the final countdown to the 76th Berlin International Film Festival. This year's event will be running from February 12th to 22nd, and it features a diverse lineup. The Wizarding World has found its new sound. 2-time Oscar-winning composer Hans Zimmer has been officially tapped to score the upcoming Harry Potter series for HBO. Zimmer will collaborate with composers Cara Talve and Anze Rosman to create a fresh musical identity for the show while honoring the legacy of John Williams' original themes. The series, which aims to adapt J.K. Rowling's books over a multi-year run, is currently slated for the 2027 premiere. Global superstar Jennie celebrates her 30th birthday today. The Blackpink member has launched a special photography exhibition titled J2NNI5 at the Youthquake Cultural Space in Seoul. It is running till January 29th. The exhibit features intimate, never-before-seen snapshots of her life and career.